Hey you guys, Diane here with Pretty Fun Stuff YouTube channel. This is a design team project for photobella.com, and what I would like to make, I think I'm going to make a folio for this horses collection. Here is the collection, and I only have 10 sheets, so I thought I'd make a folio. This is a 8.5 by 11 craft 110-pound cardstock from Michaels, and I'm just gonna cut it down to 8.5. We're gonna trim this off because it says it's supposed to be 8.5, but as you can see, there's about 1/8 of an inch too much on there. So I'm going to do this on 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11 110-pound craft cardstock from Michaels. So here's number 3. So 8.5. And right now I'm going to leave the 11 side alone because we'll either trim that off or I will incorporate it in the folio. So the next step is we're going to put these together. Okay, so you're going to take some 1/4 of an inch. I'm using Sukwang double-sided tape here. We're just going to put this on the edge. Okay, use my little pokey tool here. I'm going to peel that off. Now, I do want to use a small bead of glue on this just so that I have a little bit of wiggle room in case I don't get it right the first time. Forgive my nails. I did not do them. Oh, come on. Alright, now I'm going to line this up. I'm using my craft mat for 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go over just slightly. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to overlap right there till I get it right where I want it. And we're going to put that down. Okay. So we've got that together, one big piece. Now we're going to do it again. Did I get that over far enough? I guess it's alright. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, a little small bead of glue. Alright, it is raining here. I don't know if you can hear that thunder. Well, it's not raining yet, but hopefully it's coming because we need a little bit of rain to cool things off. It's kind of warm. Okay, now I'm going to place this one. Let me get got some stuff here in the way. Alright, we're going to place this down right on that line. That glue gives me just a little bit of wiggle room, and we're going to set that down. And then we're going to varnish it. Alright, so now our pieces are together. Now, this is one really long piece. We may use the whole thing, may not. I haven't decided yet, but I know that I do want to score this. Now, I am kind of going by this, I purchased this folio from photobella.com. It's a Graphic 45 Tri-Fold Waterfall Folio album. It's magnetic here. Opens up, you have your side pocket here. Opens up, you got a top-loaded pocket here. You have a waterfall here and a waterfall here. Mine came this way. It's a little wonky. And I noticed that this centerpiece is not centered in the album. As you can see, I have almost a ½ an inch over here, and then there's nothing over here. It barely clears the fold. So, yeah. That's not very good construction, Graphic 45. I think you need to talk to your manufacturer about that. Anyway, so I'm kind of duplicating this folio here that I purchased from Graphic 45. I'm going to do mine a little bit different. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to take my scoreboard here. I would like to make mine 8.5. 8.5 by 8.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my Martha Stewart scoring tool. And I'm going to score this at 8.5. Okay. I'm going to flip it over and score it again. Just to loosen up those fibers and get them prepared to fold. I'm going to fold it over. Now, I want now I can leave it at 8.5 for this step. I want a 1 1/4 inch spine. So 1 would be 9.5 and 1/4 would be 9 3/4. So I'm going to score at 9 3/4. Okay, flip it over. I'm going to score it again, 9 3/4. Just so I'm moving the fibers in both directions, and then I'm going to fold that. So there's my spine. Okay, now I can't score 8.5 anymore. So now I'm going to butt this up to the corner as far as I can get it. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, but you can do it. Just fold it over. Now I'm going to score at 8.5 again, because that's how big I want my album. So that's going to be my center. That's going to be my center, 8.5. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to fold that. Okay. So now I got this. See there? Okay. So the next step, I'm going to put it all the way to the edge, and I'm going to score at 1 1/4. 1 1/4. Oops. Now see how it jumped? You got to be careful about that. 1 1/4. You have to hold it taut. Okay. Flip it over. 1 1/4. Alright, there we go. Alright, there is my next fold. So now it looks like this. Okay. Now the Graphic 45 book is only 1 inch. Might be a little bit over, it looks like 1 1/8 inches. Maybe it's 1.1 inches. I'm doing mine 1.25 inches. I wanted the little extra room because I'm gonna add some additional to this folio. Now I'm gonna measure from here again. I'm gonna butt it up all the way. I want 8.5 again, okay? I'm gonna butt it up all the way to the corner, and then I'm gonna do 8.5 here. Okay, 8.5. 8.5. Okay, flip it over. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over the other direction. Let's see where this takes us. I'm gonna move it slightly. I'm gonna move it to the 5 because that's all I want is that straight line there. Okay, and then so that's 8.5. All right, then we're gonna fold this. So I may keep this. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this yet or not. I may keep this in the folio. We'll see. Maybe we'll make it a little pocket or something. But here we go. So if you look, and I want it like this. Okay, you open it up. This is 8.5. This is 8.5. Remember, we trimmed our paper at the very beginning. So we got 8.5, 1.25, 8.5 for our center, 1.25, 8.5 for the end, and then we have this flap. This measures 4 3/4. So we got that left over. We're going to go ahead and keep that for now. I might decide to do something with that. I'm going to fold this over, okay? And this will be our cover. I'm going to put magnets here, okay? All right. What I plan on doing with this, I'm going to use the horse's paper. And what I'd like to do is put a pocket here, okay? I'd like to put maybe a couple of flat pages, maybe a pocketed page like the Graphic 45 had, but I want to put 2 tags on the side. Then in the center, I want to do a gatefold. I want to do 1 flap, 1 flap, 1 flap, and 1 flap. So we'll do that. And then on this page, I'm going to do a waterfall that pivots, okay? We're going to use a brad, and I'm going to do a waterfall that pivots. Not sure what we're going to do with that yet. Maybe I'll put some decorative chipboard element here. Make that look real pretty. We'll see. If not, we can cut that off and just not use it. But as of right now, this is what our little folio looks like. So I have some basic gray large magnets here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and add one to this folio. I think this is the only one I'm going to use. Trying to think if I want anything on my cover or if I want to go ahead and add this. Because the paper I want to use on the cover, I really like, I think I want to use this page. So I'm thinking that maybe this page will go on the cover here. And then I could put a chipboard element here. I really like that. So that's what I'm thinking. I do like this too, but I may use her later in the... Can you see that? I may use her later. But yeah, I was thinking of putting this on the cover. Let me see. So you could even score this again and have it come over, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I like it like this. I'm happy with that. All right. So this is the page I'm going to set aside for the cover. Let me do a little designing work, and I'll get back with you. Okay, you guys, so the next step is to take an 8.5 by 8.5 piece of craft cardstock. So you want to cut that. Then you want a 9.5 by 8.5 piece of craft cardstock. You're going to score each end at a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then you're going to take your scissors and just angle cut slightly, so that's not going to show when you put these pieces together. So we're going to glue this on top of this one. This is going to make a pocket. Okay, now you can use double-sided tape here if you'd like, or you could just use glue. Either way, it's up to you. I'm going to use a little bit of glue too. The main thing, you want to get those measurements, okay? Because this is going to be our pocketed page. Alright, so let's take this off. Okay. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue on here, so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case I don't get it on perfectly the first time. Just a little bit of little bead of glue. Okay. Alright, then you're going to take your 8.5 by 8.5 piece, and you're just going to line it up. Looks pretty good. So I just lined that up. Okay. Then you have this. Alright. Alright, so it's going to go in our book this way. Now normally you would have a hinge, and you would slip this on and glue it on a hinge. I think I'm just going to, let's bring in our folio. I think I'm just going to score. Yeah, I think I'm just going to score rather than do a hinge. I think I'm just going to score at a 1/2 inch and glue that down, because right now it's the same width as our cover, and if I take in a 1/2 inch, then it's going to actually be like a page. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I hope this works. I've never done this before. We'll just see. Yeah. I think a 1/2 inch would be better than a 1/4. Let's do 3/4. It doesn't really matter. It's our book. Let's do 3/4. Why not? And we'll flip it over and score it again at 3. It's actually at 3/8. Excuse me. 3/8. 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And I'm going to fold this over. Alright, so I'm going to glue this to my folio. Now if you wanted to, you could put a little hinge in there, but I think this will work just fine. Yeah, that'll be just fine for your pocket. So I want to look at something. I'm comparing. Oh, it is a little smaller. Okay. Alright, let's glue this in. This is the same width as my folio. So you want to be careful about getting it straight on that folio. I think I'm going to put some double-sided tape on here just to give it some added security in addition to the glue. So put your tape on that tab. Okay. Varnish that down. And put a little glue on here. And put a little glue in here just so that it will stay shut. Okay. I think that's good. Alright. Next, I'm going to just place this right at the edge. I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch from my fold. You see that? I'm lining it up. Okay. Open it up. Yes, there's a little bit of glue here. That's okay. Just wipe it off. Not a big deal. Alright, and I have another spot for another page if I want to put another page in there. But see, that little 1/8 of an inch also gives me an opportunity to add chipboard. If I want to add a chipboard piece here, I'd have room for it. Okay, so we're just going to make sure that that's down. Good, okay. Alright, I'm going to let that dry. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I think I made a decision. We're going to use the regular tags because I don't think the craft large tags are available at photobella.com right now. So let's just use the regular size tags. We'll put them in pretty much all the way. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bead of glue right down the center here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Let's see if this will work. I'm kind of guessing. Okay, I'm going to put some glue at the bottom. Then I'm kind of come up and I'm going to just put a bead of glue at the center. See that? Y'all can see that. And a bead of glue at the center. I'm just kind of guessing. Alright. So I'm putting some glue back here. See that? See, I'm putting some glue back there to kind of glue those together. And then this, oops, is going to go about right here. And the other one, it's really close, but that's okay. Going to go about right here. Alright. Still want to move those in and out. That one got a little glue on it, but I manage. Let's do it again. Okay, so we got this glued here. We got our center glued. Now we have two pockets. I know it's a little tricky, but you can do this. It's not that hard. If I'm doing it, you can do it. We're going to slip that in. Right there. Okay. Slip this one in. Right here. Okay. Let's just press that down where those tags are, because what we're going to do, this is going to fold over like this, and then this like this. Now we're square. See? We're square on our. That's what I was trying to get to. Wanted to make sure we were square. Okay? You want to make sure you slip this in and out so it comes out easily. Okay, same with this. That one's doing good. Alright, so we got a snug, it's not too tight. It's a snug fit. But it fits nicely in there. Our glue. We'll cover this with designer paper. So now we got two regular size graphic 45 tags in there. Okay. I hope that wasn't too confusing for you guys. Alright, there we go. We did it. The next step for our folio, I'm going to put another page here. I just want a little flip page. So we need a piece of cardstock. Let's do let's do 8 1/4 by 8 1/2. So let's cut a piece. 65-pound weight. 8 1/4 by 8 1/2. So that's 8 1/2. Let's make sure that's 8 1/2. 8 1/2. Okay. By 8 1/4. And 8 1/4. Okay. And then we're going to score it. So I want the 8 1/2 here, and then we're going to score this 1/2 inch. Score this at 1/2 inch.
Can we use ours? I can?
No.
Can I have one?
Yes. So you're just going to score this at 1/2 inch. And we are going to glue this to our folio.
Are you doing a video?
Yes, I am doing a video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was my husband, you guys. Okay, so we are going to, so now our pages are even. So I am going to glue that. And you can use your double-sided tape if you'd like. I would like to trim this slightly here. This is just my preference. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Alright, we're going to put the double-sided tape here on this 1/2 inch strip. Oh, uh-oh. Can always use that later. Alright. Okay. Let's take this off. Let's do a little bit of glue. I did have to go get some more craft cardstock from Michael's. Turns out it's a little bit different color than the previous batch, but that's okay. Alright, so I put some glue on the flap, and we're going to glue this down. You're just going to kind of center it. I'm going to like kind of bump it up to that last page that I had. Make sure the top and bottom's even, and we are just going to lay that down like so. And you can tell it's a little bit different color, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to put designer paper on top and it'll still be beautiful. So there you go. So that's in. Okay, let's see here. It's not squaring. Make sure your tags are in all the way. Yeah, that's better. Okay, there we go. So now, open it up. We're going to put a pocket here. So we have our tag pockets. Now we have our flap. Okay, and here I'm going to do a series of flaps. I'm going to go take a break. We're going to do a pocket here. Okay, we'll do that in a little bit. I'm going to go give my husband some Zycam and probably eat a little dinner, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, see you in a little bit. Okay. Alright, so we're ready for the next step. We're going to do the waterfall. So, you need a piece of 110-pound weight cardstock. You're going to cut it at 6.5 by 8. Okay? This is going to go in the center here. Okay? So, hang on. Keep that in mind. So, we're going to set that aside. Now, I want you to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 6 panels. This is going to be your waterfall. You're going to cut it 5 by 6.5. Okay? 5 by 6.5. And we're going to score this at 1/2 at the top of the 5-inch side to make it 4.5 by 6.5 panels. That way you can put a 4 by 6 photo on there and still have a border. Now, for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, you can fit 2 of these on there. Okay, so you take your 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Okay, and you're going to cut it at 6.5. So let's do that. And cut it at 6.5. Okay. And then you're going to cut it at 5. So you cut it at 5. And if you want to cut 2 at a time, that's totally up to you. You can definitely do that. And then we'll cut another one at 5. That allows you to get 2 panels out of 1 sheet of paper with a few scraps left over that you might be able to use for something else. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6. I may cut 2 more later. We'll see how this fits, but we're going to place these on our base here. Okay, so next step is we're going to score a 1/2 inch on each one. And we're going to score put it where you have the 5-inch side, okay? So this way is your 6.5. This way is your 5. You're going to score on your 5. We're going to score a 1/2 inch here. Okay? And that's your first panel. So now this will hold, see, it's 4.5 by 6.5. So it'll hold a 4 by 6 photo with 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Okay? So next one, you score it at a 1/2 inch, and you'll do all of these this way, each one. Okay? Very easy. And then we'll fold them. And if you want to trim, you're more than welcome just to trim a little off of there on each one. This is totally optional, but kind of just gives a neater appearance. That's up to you if you want to do that. You don't have to do this step. I'll just barely clip it. Just enough. Like I said, you don't have to do this. Only if you want to. Just... Alright. There we go. Okay. Alright, now the next step, we're going to take our base. Now all we're going to do is glue each one on here. Hold on, let me think about this.